This pile of dirt came from one of the most valuable emerald mines in the world. Hundreds of people scavenged through waste by hand to uncover a few tiny stones.
Es muy común que hayan fracturas. Han salido personas con la clavícula fracturada, tobillos.
For Nidian, it's worth the risk. She used her last big score to pay off her debts and buy a home. But she hasn't found anything valuable in a year. Just a few miles away, commercial operations backed by foreign investors say they find emeralds every hour. Some sell for a fortune.
Retail, a stone like this could go for about $500,000.
So what happens when foreign investors take over a $150 million industry? And can local miners gain a piece of it back? Emeralds form when hydrothermal fluids collect and mix beryllium with chromium or vanadium. The elements crystallize in deposits and form the storied green gems. But Colombia has a secret ingredient. It's one of the few places on Earth where emeralds form in shale instead of igneous rock. Shale contains the ingredients for emeralds, but it also creates byproducts like sulfur and pyrite. The sulfur absorbs some of the iron that would normally go into an emerald. Less iron means a more saturated green color. And for emerald buyers, color is king.
Diamonds have been out there for a long time. Color stone is now another different league of valuation of stones.
57, around 35,000 per carat.
Buyers around the world covet these emeralds, but the profit is rarely seen by those who live around the mines. This is Muso. Miners have fought over the town's emeralds for centuries. Some line up as early as 3 a.m. for what's known as the voladora.
Me imagino teniéndola en la mano. Yo antes de tenerla, yo ya he planificado qué voy a hacer con ella.
Nidian is a guaquero, or guaquera in her case. She's an informal miner, sort of like a prospector during the California gold rush.
Yo le tengo mucha fe a la esmeralda, pero es mentalidad, es suerte, es energía. No sabemos qué es, pero así es la esmeralda.
But to have a shot at finding something, you need to be ready to run. Nidian claims her spot and digs for treasure the size of a pebble. This debris comes from the nearby Puerto Arturo mine, which is backed by US investors.
Pues entre nosotras nos respetamos, ¿no? Ya lo que hizo la señora que entra de última. Y si la regalamos, le dije, le regalo un platado y me sacó 2, pues claro, me dio rabia. Si hay una chispa y brota y usted está mirando para otro lado, la cogen y a la boca o a las botas y calla ahí. Cuando hay dinero o esmeraldas involucrados, no hay amigos. A veces ni familia.
The oldest guaqueros remember when mine runoff flowed through this river and fines were more common. But environmental regulations and modernized excavation put a stop to that. Nidian spent 4 hours digging and sifting.
Sacamos unas chispitas que algo han de valer. No mucho, no es nada, pero vale. Hay ocasiones en las que no sacamos absolutamente nada.
These small stones are probably worth less than $25 each. Voladoras happen sporadically, so her next opportunity won't be for another few weeks.
A ver, cuéntenos cómo le fue, cómo le fue en la mina que hizo ayer que...
Usted quería grabar y se cayó.
A mí que me estaban grabando y me caí. O sea, yo sí me he caído. No, pero no grabaron la caída, menos mal.
No. Más triste.
Ahí sí me hubiera vuelto viral. Qué trágico va a ser que usted vaya y por cargarse un bulto al hombro se saque 10, 20, 30, 50 millones. Eso no es trágico. Trágico es uno trabajar en una ciudad 8 horas diarias, incluso a veces yo he llegado a trabajar 12 horas por un salario. Eso sí es triste. Eso sí es trágico.
But the more formal and modern the mines become, the less that's left for the guaqueros. And the fight to control Colombia's emeralds has raged for generations. In the mid-20th century, the Colombian government tried to nationalize the mines, but the remote area proved impossible to control. So in the 1970s, the government leased titles to local leaders called dons, hoping that collecting royalties would be easier than direct management.
This is in the middle of the Colombian mountains. You feel that you are in a completely different country and it's very isolated. That made elites, local elites, regional elites, able to basically hold power that was not attached to a creation of a central state.
The dons were locals, some even former guaqueros. They won loyalty by letting their miners pocket and sell small emeralds, as long as they didn't get caught taking too much.
These were people who accumulate a lot of power and power that could become violent in many ways. But at the same time, they will become the ones who will provide jobs and economic benefits to the population.
This power made the dons rich, but it cost thousands of lives. Beginning in 1965, countless messy fights erupted between dons, illegal miners, paramilitaries, and drug traffickers in a series of conflicts known as the Green Wars. Fighting dragged on until a ceasefire in 1990.
It was basically an agreement of not killing each other. For the most part, when I went in the early 2000s, many people were saying, oh, the peace is holding here.
By the 2010s, sustained peace had attracted the eye of international investors, and control of the mines shifted from the dons to foreign companies with deep pockets. But even this didn't come without conflict. In the past decade, miners in Mosul have repeatedly clashed with an American-backed company over access to emeralds. And in late 2024, tensions spiked again. In November, the voladora was suspended and guaqueros protested by blocking roads
¡Viva Muso! ¡Viva!
and forcing their way onto mine property. In January, the governor of the Department of Boyacá met with mine owners and local leaders to discuss improving conditions for the guaqueros, like formalizing the voladora and prioritizing local labor and goods.
Garantiza que podamos seguir teniendo paz y sana convivencia en la región.
But at the time of publishing, there hasn't been a voladora for 3 months. However, locals say outside investment has brought benefits as well. Just a few kilometers away from Muso as the crow flies, but nearly a day's journey by bumpy roads, lies one of the biggest emerald mines in Colombia. This is the Cosquez mine. Fura Gems, a company based in Dubai, acquired a majority stake in 2017. The company poured $150 million into modernizing and expanding the vast tunnels. Today, Fura exports 500,000 carats annually. Just 10 years ago, this mine looked very different. Tunnels were narrow, and miners pushed around small quantities of ore by hand.
When we came, it was hardly like a mine of a 1 by 1 meter. And right now, we are standing there by 4 by 4. Even your car can pass through this mine. This is going to be the largest mine of emerald in the world.
But Fura's investment means there's less and less available for locals. Like these women, known as artisanal tunnel miners.
Lo más duro, pues en sí, aquí el trabajo, que esto es que todo el mundo dice que es para varones, pero olvídese, nosotros también tenemos la fuerza, la capacidad, la inteligencia también de nosotros sacar esmeralda.
They do things the old way. Smaller tunnels, limited equipment, and more dangerous conditions. Many artisanal miners have applied for an official mining title to legitimize their claim, a process the National Mining Agency says it's made easier to access.
Encontrarnos una esmeralda de tal valor que nos dé para una casa y pues en la mía personal, tener un negocio que me solvente el día a día.
But the piece that enabled Fura to thrive hasn't helped small-scale miners financially. Janet might go all year without making any profit.
When you see the value or the price that a very good emerald can have in the market, is not something that, like most of these towns, will see as their income in a lifetime.
But for the 500 workers Fura employs, the recent foreign investment has been life-changing. Some, like Carmenza, were happy to give up artisanal tunnel mining.
Era un trabajo muy agotador. No teníamos buena ventilación, buen sostenimiento. Todos los días uno se iba con ese, con ese miedo, ¿sí? Que le pasara a uno algo. Yo un día ingresé, estando recogiendo la tierra, me cayó, me salvé porque pues donde la piedra me caiga encima empecé a pedir auxilios. Es algo muy riesgoso, es algo muy peligroso y pues yo le doy gracias a Dios porque estoy contando el cuento en estos momentos acá con ustedes.
The hunt for green starts with a hunt for white, calcite. Even valuable emeralds are relatively small, so calcite veins in which the gems often form are a signal to miners to look closely.
Es algo que pues es suerte, es la suerte pues. Todas las esmeraldas son valiosas, pero pues todas no son de la misma calidad, ni grande no. grande no.
If the area is promising, miners clear away the rock and add supporting material. Then, it's time to get up close. This is the most exhausting part of the job. But today, Carmenza's work is rewarded. And just like the guaqueros, miners can't beat a trusty metal bowl for catching loose gems. But one big difference compared to Nidian is that anything Carmenza finds, she promptly puts into a lockbox. Supervisors even check her mask and boots for smuggled gems. Workers at Fura are paid with a salary, not emeralds. Carmenza says it's still exciting to find one, even though she can't take it home.
Que está la producción es algo de alegría, pues se motiva uno a seguir en el chequeo, porque uno, o sea, pues uno se va con esa que hay más esmeralda en el frente.
Back in 2018, the washing process looked similar to what the guaqueros do by hand. Now, it's on a whole other level. Optical sorters, equipped with cameras and ultraviolet lights, detect and redirect emeralds. But meticulous washing means there's little left over for guaqueros like Nidian. In fact, Fura doesn't provide debris for the voladora. It says it uses leftover shale for road maintenance and infrastructure around the mine.
Cuando yo ingresé como minera artesanal, se trabajaba como con esa desconfianza porque pues se presentaba mucho, bueno, uno ingresaba al frente de trabajo y bueno, que las peleas, que una cosa, otra. Pasa más tiempo acá que en casas. Acá ya es una familia más para uno. Yo soy madre cabeza de hogar, tengo 2 niños por los cuales yo soy la que me veo pues reflejada en el trabajo para ellos, para llevarles pues sus alimentos, su mensualidad a ellos, para ayudas de sus alimentos. Entonces me siento muy feliz de estar trabajando acá.
It's a steady job in a place without many other options. But most of the money generated from emerald mining doesn't stay in the communities around Cosquez or Muso.
Most of the profit, of course, is being made by the owners of the mines, but it's also being made internationally for those who trade the emeralds, and those profits never touch the regions where the emeralds are produced.
Each year, Colombia exports about $130 to $150 million worth of emeralds. One of the top buyers is the US.
Demand for emeralds is increasing, and people are buying from all corners of the world. People think, oh, you own a mine, it's easy. It's tons of headaches.
Michael invested in a mine in Colombia to source the quality of gems he's after.
Of course, the bigger, the better, but we look in terms of the quality. What's the best of the quality to have? A lighter emerald is less valuable than a darker emerald. Also, too dark is also not correct. The average price per carat is anywhere from $5,000 to $35,000, $40,000.
Michael sells emeralds wholesale to jewelers like Tiffany, and he says emeralds he's sold have shown up on the red carpet and at royal weddings.
Without Muso entering in 2009, without Fura coming in 2017, I wouldn't think to be involved in mining.
For Michael, the peace and modernization brought by foreign investors has been a welcome change.
The American company coming in to buy the mine, it cleaned up the area. Peace, not fighting, is the best thing. Me as a businessman is about buying the beautiful gems Colombia produces and bringing to the world. That's the passion I have. There's an excitement and a passion to this greenstone for me and my family.
Fura shares this excitement. The company says it plans to invest over $100 million more in Colombia, and it extended its mining license to 2050. While the industry is modernized, in many ways it hasn't changed. The cycle of exploitation dates back 500 years. In the 16th century, Spanish conquistadors forced indigenous people and enslaved Africans to work the mines. The Spanish coveted valuable deposits, and lavish emeralds made their way to crowns and jewelry around the world. Since then, the mines have changed hands countless times. There has been peace and times of intense fighting, but the real money has always been made by those at the top.
For the most part, those at the top, those who are the owners of the mines or the traders in the international markets or the users, don't care about those disposable populations. They can always change. They are not getting rich, but there will always be people in need of engaging in these economies to be able to live if they have no other economic options.
Es bastante difícil de conseguirlos, difícil de conseguir. Muchas personas, acá en su mayoría, no tienen ni una nevera. Para mí la mayor bendición es saber valorar la vida. Entonces acá yo aprendí a valorar lo más mínimo. La última buena fue en diciembre de 15 millones. De ahí para acá no hemos conseguido nada bueno, nada. Entonces por eso tú siempre vas a ver que en mi casa hay muchas hierbas, así como las piedras, las gemas, cada una tiene una propiedad. Entonces la esmeralda en general es una piedra de poder. Es una piedra que da temperamento, que da fuerza, que da salud. La esmeralda, por ser relacionada con el color verde, es el color de la salud, de la abundancia, de la prosperidad. O sea, yo sentirme orgullosa de decir soy de Muso, por lo que realmente somos, que somos personas guaqueras, y el nombre y el término guaquero para nosotros es un orgullo. Quiero que las personas vengan y conozcan lo que realmente somos, los trabajadores que somos.